Hello, everyone. This is Cheri Arellano live with the Ascension Sessions. We are live on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I'm super excited to share our guest with you tonight. But before I do that, I just wanted to say thank you so much for being here. I know you guys have a lot of options of where you could be spending your evening right now, and I really appreciate you being here with us. Also, I have a big announcement, and that is that we just hit 1,000 subscribers. Woohoo! I'm super excited about that. It's been a long time coming because I don't put out shows like every night or every week sometimes. And so I've been building this slowly, and I really appreciate everyone who's here. Please say hello in the chat room if you're watching. Hey, Brave Seal, how are you? Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you and everyone else who's coming on tonight. Yeah, so we just hit 1,000 followers. That's huge because I was trying to hit that goal by summer solstice, and we hit it by the Lion's Gate. So not a bad date to hit that goal. I guess that was the correct portal that I needed to be in to hit that goal. So anyways, without further ado, I just want to say thanks again. And I'm going to share a little bit about my guests tonight. Before I do that, I do want to let you guys know that the Ascension Sessions is on Telegram now. So if you're on Telegram, please connect with us over there. I just put up the link on the screen. We're also on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and MeWe, in addition to YouTube. So thank you for following and connecting with us on all those other places. All right, awesome. So tonight's guest is the amazing Galactic Ashley. So let me pull her on the show. Hi, Ashley. How are you? I think you're muted. I'm going to unmute you.
Sorry. Yes. I'm trying to scramble and get a coupon code in here.
Oh, don't worry about that. Okay. Just want to say welcome to the show. I'm going to read your bio for everyone who's not familiar with you. So Galactic Ashley is a divine guidance for starseeds, connecting them to their star families and galactic lineages. She uses light language frequencies and works with your cosmic connections to facilitate high frequency healing transmissions and encoded activations. After earning a master's in fine arts from the University of Arizona in Tucson, she merged her passion for art and metaphysics together with her background in cross-cultural mentoring and teaching experiences to design and lovingly develop Galactic Guided Intensives. Several times a year, she co-creates a sacred space for 2 private groups to share in an incredibly powerful transformational 10-week journey. So we're going to talk about that tonight. So thank you so much. Welcome to the Ascension Sessions. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here, actually.
Awesome. I see you've got your light language background all behind you.
Yep.
Hey, Pat. Pat Breezy's in the house, also known as the Elf or Elf. Thank you so much for being here. It's great to see you.
Oh, there we go. I wanted to. Yeah. I was in the private chat, not the comments. I'm like, how do you know?
Are you?
I got
Are
it.
you able to see
slow.
them? Are you able to see them?
Yep, I got it. I'm.
Okay, awesome.
A little
perfect.
Slow, not that slow, just a little lag time over here.
You're good. You're good. Awesome. So Ashley does a lot of things, you guys, and I'm really excited to get into this interview because there's so much to talk about, and we only have like 2 hours. And Elf, I know you're super excited and interested in crystal skulls, and we're definitely going to get into that a little bit later in the show because I feel like that's going to be kind of the interactive piece of the show. But just to start off with, Ashley, can you tell us a little bit about when you got started and what that process looked like for you when you started channeling, when you started seeing or reading or hearing light language, and what that looked like for you?
Sure. So mostly it, and this isn't to say, this is not to be snarky, but it was always there, but all of the clarity wasn't there. So what I mean by that is and it wasn't like there was voices in my head. The beings, and I just define the beings as all of the beings that I work with that are a part of what I call, each of us has a divine soul's guidance system. And so within that system, there are maybe galactic beings, maybe celestial beings, but basically hierarchical structures of beings that are like of the light in service of source, I guess you could say. So there wouldn't be like an aspect of yourself that you necessarily need to heal. Like these will be all of the healed parts of you and other beings that you have contracts with or relationships with. So anyways, the point is that I originally, like the first awareness type of situation is that I always worked with a dragon, and then there was a wolf. So my parents went through a divorce, and there was a wolf that would sleep on my bed, at the foot of my bed at nighttime. And then there has always been a dragon in my energy field. And so what I mean is it's not an attachment. And it's not necessarily separate from me, but it's like a really huge overlay. So there's just always this dragon that is present. And so those were the first two beings that I was working with, like consciously. And of course, I didn't consider it working. They were just, they were there.
Right.
And my first metaphysical experience or spiritual experience was when I was in second grade. These missionaries came to school, and I was at a Christian school, and they said, "Who wants to ask Jesus into their heart?" Those were not the words that they used, but whatever it is that they were talking about, I was like, yes, that is me. That's for me. So I went and grabbed my friend, and we went, and they were excited. There was just the two of us. And so they said, come back tomorrow with Bibles and whatever, wear a dress, and we're going to go ahead and we'll do this, whatever this is. And so in that experience, when we were going through the process, there was a ton of energy, and it was like light came streaming through the windows, and like the clouds parted, and there was just like tons and tons of beings like in this space. And I think there's probably only 5 of us, like my second grade teacher, the 2 missionaries, and then my friend David and I. And but it, there was like so many people. So I was like, this is it. Like there was just energy, and it felt normal. So after that, I went out and I recruited every single one of my second grade people in my class. And there was 2 second grade classes, and I got them all to basically invite Jesus into their heart. So because like these are the terms that are used, right? So I'm pretty sure that they probably thought that they created like the best missionary ever. They're, and so all these people went. They went the next day, and we weren't allowed to be in there because I don't know what makes you a witness and what doesn't make you a witness. And I ran up to everybody after, and I was like, oh my gosh, wasn't that the most amazing experience ever? And nobody had that experience. And so I was like, ugh. So those were the 24 hours that I was a missionary. and then never again. And essentially what happened is so how I understand this is like, and I believe that this is with most people, is as we are waking up, as we are on our ascension path, things that we did become more clear, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we get information that's like other layers of experiences that we have had. So
Right.
later in life, I realized that the beings that I was working with, not the wolf and the dragon, they're something else, but both of them are very galactic and very cosmic. But the other experiences and all of the channeled writings that I was doing, I didn't know it was channeled writing. I didn't have the term automatic writing, but I knew that when I sat down and wrote, like, because I found a lot of old notebooks, I was literally writing like, this hand is not my hand, right?
Oh, wow.
And so I was like writing, like I would sit and I would just like write all of these things, and
Mm-hmm.
that was it. I didn't like show it to anybody. And later, when my galactic family kind of formally presented themselves, the language that they use is all of the language that I have been writing. So I'm saying that because a lot of you that might be trying to like search for your galactic family, like the importance is that divine timing and divine order is everything. It's the same as like anything that we receive information, it has to be delivered in a way that's appropriate, because they don't want to scare you, because that's those, like anything that has the frequency of fear in it, it sets you back, and that's not the goal. And the other part is, I think I channeled and at the time, like I knew that it came really, really easily. So I think I was in like 6th or 7th grade. We had some creative writing assignment. And I just remember getting up late, like sneaking out into the main room to get on the computer to write this story. And essentially it was very specific about a planet that I was on, and a planet that was destroyed, and a planet that we went to, and that I was the only one there, but I went there to be with my grandmother or something, but she had died. And it was like a lot of specific stuff about how they cared for the dead, but that nobody, and it was just a whole story, right? So that would be like, I would consider that my first like channeled experience. And at the time I was aware of past lifetimes, and I was also at a Catholic school, so I didn't know what was happening at the time, but it would almost be like the teachers in their voices would be teaching me things about reincarnation, and that reincarnation is something that happens, and that we have other lifetimes. So it's like my ears would get clogged or plugged, and then it would be like the teachers' voices were telling me this. So
you mean the Star Family teachers?
No, like the human
Catholic
teacher, right?
Okay.
Yeah, but like they weren't like, no, I wasn't having a discussion about it, but it would get kind of like clogged, and it would be like, that's what the person in front of me was talking about. So this is what I mean by like how slick they're really slick, right? So it's not like some booming voice is coming in and it's going, they are wrong, they're like, that is wrong. They're kind of like letting
they would use the teacher's voice.
Yeah, to like,
but it was a different message than what the teacher might have been saying at that moment.
Yes. And so it was like, but it's like, there's also like, if at the time I went back and if I was paying attention, there would have been something going on with my ears that would have signified a transition. But I was one of those kids, I was like fidgeting like all of the time. So who knows, right? And when I wrote that one story, sorry, I'm not going to be very linear at all. I was aware that my past self was working with my future self. And I don't mean my future self in this lifetime. I mean like an avatar, like a future self, to leave my present self messages. And that is kind of like brilliant. I'm not because that's what's happening. So this is like when you have synchronicities happen in your life where you find a notebook or a story or something that you did when you were younger. That is a physical experience of your past self working with your future self to leave your now self a message that like, look, you're on the right path. You already knew this. You just weren't that conscious of it. So, yeah. So my whole life, I was like, when can I give readings? Like, when can I do this? When can I do this? When can I do this? Like, is it now? Is it now? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? So that was kind of like how I was. And then one night a being came in and put their hand on my shoulder, and it was like, it's go time. And then from that second, all of a sudden, everything on the internet opened up and I could take classes. Because prior to that, even though I was living in Oregon, I grew up in California and had lived in Arizona. All of these are like not places where metaphysical people don't exist. There were no classes. I couldn't take one psychic development class if I wanted to, because it would never show up online. So according to me, like Meetup never even really existed, right? And then all of a sudden, after the being came in, and I'm not going to get into that whole story, but that was its whole download and a thing into itself. I got that it was go time. I got on the internet and all these classes opened up, and then I just devoted like every free second to that. And I was like, it's about time. And
was that after Arizona, after you went to college?
Yeah. So after grad school is when they were like, okay. And the importance of all of that is because one, had I opened, well, the first thing is what, because I said, why now? Why couldn't I have had this like when I was 18, like I wanted, or even younger? And they basically said because you would have used your gifts as a form of spiritual escapism. I'm not talking about spiritual bypassing. I'm literally talking about connecting so that I don't have to be on the planet. And so they had to wait until a certain point because they weren't going to give it to me then. And then the other thing that they said is essentially every single night when you go to sleep, you are like crying at like this deep soul level to come and like get me. Like those are not the terms, but that's the feeling. Like you're crying out to us all the time. So we can't just be like, here, we're here, but you're not going anywhere, right? So, and then there's a lot of learning that has to happen. So when all this opening started, a lot of it is I've never had a near-death experience in this lifetime that I am aware of. They always like add that you are aware of. Okay, fine. That I am aware of. And it's like I was not hit, because that sounds negative, but all of these mini near-death experiences happened, or what you would call a whole bunch of downloads. So I would be laying there and my entire life would flash before my eyes, and these huge chunks would like light up, and it would say, that's why you were here. That's why you were doing this. That's why you went to this place. And it was like, oh. So in a sense, I was blessed with being able to be in the Peace Corps and to travel and to work abroad. And they said you were developing like your telepathy and your intuitive abilities in a different way, because I was away from all of the distractions like of my family and of other things that were happening. And I was on my own out in these very new environments where I didn't speak the language. And I knew, because I would be like talking to myself and I would say, if I don't focus on the meanings of the words, like trying to understand like the word that they're using and go in a mental space, if I just calm down and I listen, I will know exactly what is being said. So that is what I would do. And then I would always struggle when I went to respond. So I just thought that I just wasn't very good at language, or didn't learn very well because I couldn't respond that great. Like, because basically I didn't really know the language. I'm listening to them at a deeper level. And so I always knew what everybody was saying. And then I did a lot of photography and documentary photography stuff. So people always just let me into their lives and just told me things. And that's kind of been a normal part of my life. Like, I'm going to sit next to you on this bus and I'm going to tell you my whole life story. And then I'm going to sit here and I'm going to have advice for you, even though I'm like 19 or 20 or whatever. And I've clearly not lived any of these experiences. And then they would just go. And that's sort of like been the norm. So when I finally had the being come in, was like, okay, it's go time. Then
and how old were you?
I was, I think it was in like 2016.
Or what year? Okay.
It wasn't that long ago. And, and they then I had to start basically taking responsibility. Not that I wasn't taking responsibility before, but then they were like, okay, now you cannot just be giving people information because you have it. So then it was all about, you need to be aware that you're getting information, like all the time, about all the people that you're around. So you have to start asking them if they want it, right? And so then it became a lot about just having awareness. And then I was like, okay. And so everything just sort of like came together. So it wasn't that I wasn't doing any of this before. I just wasn't allowed to like practice it officially, right? Because people would still be like, you come to my house, do you sense, I think there's a spirit here, or what do you think? And I just would say things like, I had a dream, because I didn't know how else to wrap it in language that wouldn't freak people out. And so I was constantly seeing things and visioning stuff. And in grad school, I was channeling like all of the time, and I knew that I was, but you can't tell your committee, like you can't defend your thesis and be like, I blacked out for 3 months, this is my project, right? Like you have to. So it was really in hindsight, it allowed me to be in academia as like an undercover metaphysical person, and because I wasn't necessarily identifying as only metaphysical, I wasn't attached to having to have some voice that said metaphysics is important. So it was like I was creating transmissions and stuff through my artwork while still being able to speak in academic language. So that way you're accepted in this, and then you can get your work out into these places, which, if I look at my thesis, it was called Melting Bodies. I was using what I had to term psychoacoustics, because binaural beats, right, where I wanted people to go in and have an experience where they would lose track of time. It was very much about, where do I stop and where does another thing begin? And I built a room inside the gallery. So you went in, it was a completely immersive experience. And you were to come out like 3 hours later because you thought only 20 minutes went by, and it was about soul inquiry. And it was about you asking questions like to yourself. So I just,
wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, I think sometimes we look at our lives and we're like, like I should be better or somewhere else, when really all of those experiences have helped you to be, and to be equipped to handle and to understand the things that you are supposed to bring through your physical being into this planet. So
yeah, that's a really important message, I'm sure, for a lot of people watching this. Because, I feel like a lot of people are waking up right now, their gifts are coming online, and they don't fully understand what they are or how to use them. And, I think patience is a big part of that. And we have to realize or remember, because we already know that like everything's going to come online in divine timing, So thank you for sharing your story, because that's, you waited a long time. It sounds like you kind of got lit up in second grade, and then as you went on through your life, you had a lot of these metaphysical experiences that probably not a lot of people were talking about, and you couldn't really identify them, but you knew they were happening. So that's really cool. Pat has a question. He wants to know if light language can be written down.
Yeah, that's what all of this is. And let's see, in my course that we just started right now, here's an example. I think this is the right one. So this is like what the Pleiadians, oops, sorry, I just hit the microphone. What the Pleiadians brought. Oh God, this is reversed. Sorry, everybody.
It's okay. It still looks cool. It's pretty symmetrical.
Yeah, so it can look different, and and they brought this through as a way to help connect with them. And the Syrians brought something else through for the Lion's Gate, but I don't have that printed out in this room that I am in. So it can absolutely be written down. What I find about light language that is written is that, so here's some that I have that I did this in reverse, and it's under the crystal bowls that I have. So that way it's sort of amplifying. This is helping to amplify that. And then I also have a tensor ring that's also the bowl.
Cool.
The bowl is inside that. This is a New Earth frequency one, and this came from Cosmic Earth Medicine, and they're amazing. Mo and Aaron, they're out of Washington, so if you just look them
so
up,
before we get too far down the light language,
okay, that's where topic. I was headed, so stop me.
Can
now.
you just well, I do want to talk about light language. It's actually one of the questions. So can you just define what it is? Because I'm aware of it, and I know like you can write it. There's artwork, there's sound and audio. It comes in all these different forms. Some people channel sounds that aren't necessarily music, but it's light language. So can you just kind of define what it is for people who may not be familiar with it?
Yeah. So I always say, first of all, that light language is organic, especially when it's coming from you. And it is sacred geometric frequencies expressed through vibration, where you are both the divine composer and the divine instrument. So this is you, and this is important because we're embodied. This is you being source in action between the manifest and the unmanifest. Okay, so break that down. That means that what you're doing is that you are connecting, and this is what I facilitate or help people to connect to in my light language courses are, you are connecting to your soul and all of the lifetimes that your soul has lived. So even if you speak one phrase in light language, that could be one language, or it could be like 4 of them merged into that one phrase. And so you're essentially, that's my dog, just so you know.
Okay.
Essentially, you are.
I was like, we're getting a download.
Well, yeah, because she just was like, she's agreeing. And
it sounded like, it was really cool.
Yeah. You are connecting to healed and higher dimensional aspects of yourself, or aspects that are healed but are from maybe that of an Egyptian or an Atlantean part of yourself. And you are bringing these frequencies through you, and so they will be natural to you. And so that could be in sound, that could be in sign, like just with your hands, that could be written, that could be through your whole body. So I find that people that are dancers or practice yoga, that when they're kind of going into a free form, or if their body is sort of like showing them that they want to be in this position, they're essentially holding a light language pose, which is allowing the energies to run through the body in a way that best heals you. So what I love about light language the most, the bee turkey, I think my nose always itches. So I'm just going to itch it and just be
hello totally to the beings.
Normal about it. I know sometimes they do it because they want me to keep talking more about that, or because they want me to be quiet because they want to come in. But hold on, everything. All of the frequency is shifting. So when you are working with light language, it is one of our most powerful healing tools. And they talk about it in terms of, it is medicine that is created by you for you. And nobody knows you better than you. And you are claiming your sovereignty when you use it. You are saying, I know me better than anybody knows me, so I know what will heal me. And then when you bring these frequencies through you, whether it's written, spoken, or through movement, or signing, you are they are so dialed into exactly what you need that is
Mhm.
what the benefit is. So you could be having like a horrific experience out in the world at the grocery store, and then just like you can recenter yourself and call your energy back and do a whole bunch of things just by allowing some light language to come through you, and it can shift everything and bring to call in your star family. I mean, for a lot of people, it can just be a huge game changer, I feel.
Wow, that's amazing. I didn't know that. I hadn't heard of the body form, like the yoga and the body movement version. That's awesome. How does it get activated in a person? Like, how do you turn it on? Is it you
Well,
just have to
obviously,
raise
you
your
have to.
frequency to a certain level, or what? Because like I've always been attracted to it, and I'm like, as an artist, I want to make beautiful art with it, but then there's also like the sound is really beautiful too. And
Yeah.
the written characters, like what you've done behind you, it's so beautiful. So
Yeah.
can you activate it in people, and how do people come online with their own light language? Because I know I've heard it start spontaneously.
Jason Quit's Egyptian postures, I absolutely would consider that to be light language that he is bringing from a past life, that when he was this is what I'm getting right now. So he was working, and I don't really know that much about him. I heard him like once at Soul Tech a while ago.
Oh,
What I
that's
am
right. We were
getting,
there.
yeah, what I am
We were.
getting is that he's connected to those timelines, and that he was connecting to the part of him that understood geomantic structures and frequencies, and he was applying that to the physical body in this lifetime. So he could see in that lifetime like these geometric frequencies that were, a lot of them that were programmed in the crystals that were placed in some of these pyramid shapes, and they really understood how the energy was working and how it worked together. So he took that and stopped down that information and brought it into the physical structure, and basically created a type of light language so that you could bring those energies into your body and have it run through the body in a way that they were doing in Egyptian timelines. So that was a good question.
Wow. Yeah,
So
that was a great question.
to answer your question, obviously the only way that you can get activated with light language is by giving me $1 million, and I will do it for you. I'm just kidding. So a couple of things is light language activates light language. So you don't have to go to a class or do anything. You can just set the intention to have your light language activated. And I do recommend that if you go to YouTube, to like please be centered and to use discernment, because not all light language is the same, right? If it's coming through you and you have the intention that you are connecting to you, then you're totally fine, and just go wild. But there's wonky stuff on YouTube sometimes. So you can go ahead and ask, right? Just ask that it happen. There are other people that will be in a place and they'll hear it, and that's their activation for them, and then it's activated, and then a lot of times people freak out and it's like a big thing. There's people that have grown up in the church that does the speaking of the tongues. Technically that is light language. I separated a tiny bit only because the church has made that, they've made a lot of rules about it. Like you have to have a translator present. Only certain people can do it, and it can only be done in this way. And none of that is true. And then you are punished from the experiences that I've heard for speaking it, because how dare you haven't done X, Y, and Z to be able to do that. So not true. And so if that is you and you're listening to this, one, it's okay. If that came through you, yes, that is light language. And you can re-invite that back in. The other thing is that some will just say starseeds or whatever. Before you came into this planet, you were like, we're gonna have our light language activated at this time. So I've also heard of people that were like in the grocery store, and all of a sudden, all the stuff comes through them, and so then it is activated. But the crux of it is light language activates light language. And yes, I absolutely activate light language, and the course is really fun because then it's activated in you, and we explore all of the modalities, and then you get to practice it with other people and decide how you want to integrate it into your life or into your metaphysical practice.
Awesome. And do some people who have it activated, do they see it like floating in front of them, or do they hear it, or does it just come in through automatic writing, channeling? Like, what are the different ways people experience it, I guess, is the question.
I think it depends on you, right? Like I always say, so in the course, we always start with the voice one, and we spend the most time basically doing a lot of healing of the high heart and the throat, and opening the heart and sort of clearing or healing all of the voicelessness in us and the past lives where we weren't allowed to speak and all this stuff, because this is the voice of God. All of us, our voices are so important because we are essentially speaking God, like now. So understanding that really kind of makes one think, well, what am I saying? Because that is the power of being both the created ones and the creators. So we have the word and the voice for a reason. So we usually focus on the sound part, because that's generally where a lot of the healing is needed, and then that can somehow help to activate everything else. Sometimes people will struggle with the writing part if they have a lot of belief systems that say that they can't draw or they can't write, or if they were dyslexic or are dyslexic, or they had some traumas in school, then it will bring that up. But some people, it's just like, if you are more oriented towards seeing or hearing, then that is probably how you might experience the light language first. They each kind of function differently. So the stuff that's written is like a broadcasting system that will continually broadcast those frequencies into the environment, which is really, really beneficial for the body. So they can be extremely helpful for the physical structure. And then the other stuff that is sound oriented can affect all of it, but is sometimes, I don't want to say fleeting. It doesn't necessarily stay in the environment, right? It will shift things, and then everything kind of continues on its way. And then additionally, whenever we speak or sound light language, what I've been shown is that it exponentially grows and like continues traveling. So if you feel like doing it, you're in the car, it seems to be an easy place to do it, because you're alone, nobody's judging you or listening to you, and it comes through. Just do it, and then you can always set the intention that all sentient beings, nature, whatever, and anybody that needs it can receive the frequencies if it aligns with them. So while you're flying down the road, you can just be light languaging it up. But how people experience it, it depends. Some people hear it and then say it. I personally, it just comes through. I don't hear. I mean, I can hear stuff, but stuff comes in downloads, and then it comes out my mouth.
Awesome. That's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom on that topic. It's such a fascinating topic, I think. And I feel like there's like so many more light language workers on Facebook than ever, and probably YouTube. I haven't really looked on YouTube, but I know there's a bunch of them on Facebook. And thank you for saying, like, be careful what you're tapping into, because I've also seen some that felt like the frequency was a little off, like it wasn't in my highest and best to listen to it or watch it or whatever it was.
Right.
And sometimes like the person delivering it, you have to, really check in with what their intentions are.
Right. And that's and even the subconscious intentions, because the beings are always like, we have there's intentions, but part of that intention is intent, and intent includes subconscious and conscious. So this helps to remove judgment from the person, because they might not know that they don't have the best intention, because subconsciously they're doing something. But I like just the same as if you listen to a channel. If it doesn't resonate, then go somewhere else. It's the same thing. And if something is uncomfortable, go away. Like it's not for you. And then to keep in mind that they could be bringing frequencies from a different place in the stars or wherever. And that's just not what you align with, or that's just a different frequency than you are. It doesn't make what they're doing bad. It means that they're having people that are coming to them because they're frequency matching those people.
Right, exactly. Perfect. So for anyone joining the show now, we're speaking with Galactic Ashley. I put her website up on the screen, galacticashley.com, so you can go and check her out. I wanted to also ask you, what I know you do a lot of things. So just can you kind of like rattle off all the services you offer? Because I know you've got courses and you do healings. And can you share a little bit about what you offer?
I primarily, most of my focus is I do offer star sessions, and there are just there's basically two types of there's three types of star sessions. One's 90 minutes and one's 2.5 hours. That's literally the only difference. And then the other one is for cosmic couples, and this isn't like, oh, is he right for me? This is like you have embodied with a soul partner person that you know that you are here together on a mission. Then people will sign up for that one. But mostly the most popular one is just the 90-minute star session. We basically go in and look at your galactic family, ask for your galactic family, galactic lineages if you want, or you can just ask a whole bunch of other questions about things that are going on, anything. And then the galactic beings will your galactic beings will come in and help to give you other perspectives about what's going on. So there's star sessions, but my main focus is on these courses, and they're 10 weeks long. And I basically am prioritizing the people that are in my courses, and I tend to do less sessions when I'm in the court, because that's just where all of my energy goes. I was doing really great. I had my YouTube channel. I was like doing stuff every day, and I had this whole program, and I'm going to go back to it because it's really important. I'm just waiting to hit the groove in this current course, which we're going to be closing registration down at I think probably on Monday. So that's kind of where all of my energy goes to, because I'm always building the course around the people that are in it and responding to them. So if people have questions, I'll make videos about it and put it in the course. And so the course content there's a lot of it, and it's really awesome. And that's like my favorite thing. And that's what I love to do. So that awesome. It might look like I'm doing a lot, and I am all over the place doing things and getting out in front of people, because the beings are like, you have to show up in places so that people know that you exist. And so I'm like, here I am showing up. But the courses they're awesome, because everything that I do is about sovereignty and is about you feeling empowered. But even more than that, what we do is you can be a weirdo in these groups, right? Because it's about you being in a place where you're going to be comfortable in who you are and exploring that. So I don't teach things like everything is based on transmissions and activations. and about you understanding how you are wired. So I don't have some system that I've set up and I say you have to do it this way. There's definitely support and there are things to try so that you can understand. But I believe that we are all wired differently. And so the way that we receive and perceive information is going to be completely different from the person next to us. And honoring and celebrating the way that you are wired is your best opportunity at one, living as your authentic self, and two, being able to understand what is going on in the way that makes sense to you, because so many people are coming online right now and they are meant to bridge, they're meant to bring in ancient healing practices, the parts of it that were not distorted, right? And bring them here. And then they're meant to bring these other lifetime or galactic experiences from other planets and kind of marry them together so that you are bringing, in essence, a totally new technique or healing method into this planet for a lot of the new incarnations that are going to be happening, or for parents, or for people that are maybe doing doula work, but they're going to be birthing in like people that are designed totally different than the kind of more common blueprint. And so these are all things to be aware of. And if we just stay with the same structure, then we are not allowing for these new healers and these new energies to come in to be a part of that. So that's kind of like what we just focus on, your uniqueness, and then celebrating that. And then we can all learn from it and maybe try it too, you know? So.
Yeah. Awesome. And so you're offering a special tonight, right, for our audience. If they want to sign up for your course, there's a coupon code. Is that right?
Yes, I think I put it in the private chat. So it's
yeah, I just put it up on the screen.
Oh,
so anyone who wants to take her course, you can go to galacticashley.com and put in this coupon code that's up on the screen right now, and get $25 off her course. So that's awesome. And they can get there from your website, right? We don't need that specific link.
Yeah, the specific thing was more for you, but if you have problems and you want to sign up, just let me know and I will connect it here, and then everything will get worked out.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Well, that was so much fun to talk about all the different types of light languages and all of the services that you offer, because it's such a nice variety. And also you have, one of the things you offer is star family readings, as you mentioned. And I would imagine that as a lot of starseeds are coming online right now, a lot of them are probably really curious, what star nation they're from, if you will. Do you get asked that question a lot?
I do, and I love, one of the things that I love about doing star sessions is because based on who you are and what your questions are, I get to learn new information that I wouldn't necessarily know about because it's not my information. And it's not necessarily a question that I would ask or beings that I would necessarily connect to. And I say that not because I don't. It's just when we remember that if you think of all of the sand on this planet, including that which is underneath the oceans and all of the deserts, there are more stars in the sky than we have sand on this planet. And on top of that, there are stars in the sky that we cannot see because our vibration is not quite, like, our collective vibration doesn't actually allow us to see it yet, even though it's like right there. So when you start thinking of it in that way, it's like there's so many different beings. And because I know that I am from a different universe, it means that I'm totally open to beings coming in that aren't going to say we are Andromedan or we are Pleiadian or we are this or we are that. They're going to show me or tell me something like we're from we don't have a planet anymore. We live in this sort of light ship, or we're on some crystal dimensional planet that is near here, but is outside of human awareness. And then they get to bring in information for their person. So it's open. And I think if I could have like gotten some GPS coordinates maybe for my galactic family, and they were like, oh, this is you and that's that, then I wouldn't be as open. But just because I have some information about the universe, but a lot of that is kind of, it's not blocked, but it's like, it's not necessary for me to know a lot of that because it doesn't help me here in this moment. But just that experience in and of itself has helped me to connect with really incredible beings that, you know, we don't have a planet anymore. They have like these triangle shapes and we're this color and we're here, you know, and the person in front of me is like sobbing. So it's like, you know, there's a lot of heart openings and there's a lot of remembering, and it's really quite fascinating because every being is in that collective consciousness that they're connected to. If they're sort of in that level, they're going to have a lot of different experiences of how they experience this galaxy or another one. Like, you know, we look at, and there's Andromeda, the constellation, and Andromeda, the galaxy, which is our mother galaxy, and we're moving towards each other. So when you think of Andromeda, the galaxy, which has like, you know, 5 times, I don't remember what the numbers were. It's like we have so many that we are aware of billions of stars, and then they have so many trillions of stars. So it's like so many energies and beings out there. I mean, there's a part of me that wants to write it all down, but that's not.
Right. That would keep you in here too much, right? In your logical mind, which may not, you know, serve the other work you're doing. So awesome. So can we talk about dragons? I know that I work with dragon essences and energies, and you work with dragon energies as well. And when I do healing sessions, a lot of times dragons will come through for my clients, and a particular dragon will want to work with them. So does that happen for your sessions as well? Or do you mostly just focus on your dragon that I guess has been assigned to you, or since when? Since birth, probably?
Yeah. My understanding is that the dragon thing is I feel like I am a hybrid. Like I hybridized with a dragon to come into this universe. And in this universe, I'm having one very long lifetime, which is like being broken up with a whole bunch of other different lifetimes. So that's that dragon part. So frequently I am channeling a lot of different dragons all the time because that's an easier frequency to channel through. So the dragons the dragon body or whatever, I'm getting more information about it. Well, one, it was very protective and was doing a lot of the communicating, especially when I was doing a lot of mediumship stuff, because I don't know, I like to know everything. So I wanted to like mediumship stuff actually kind of like hurt my body. So I had to start developing ways to, I mean, this is all like the learning process, right? Like, so understanding how we are naturally oriented helps us understand how to sort of function in the environment, and what our energy naturally wants to do is not necessarily something that it needs to do all of the time. Like my energy wants to merge with everything and become it, and that is how I understand it. So we had to like put a little boundary on that, because we don't need to be merging with every single thing in order to feel it and understand it. So that dragon body also helps these other frequencies come in that I don't necessarily pay attention to. I mean, I pay attention to them because I can tell when there's an energy shift, but I'm just going to say the beings I'm going to say the dragon bodies, as in plural, will use those energies and my dragon body to bring frequencies into the earth to do some kind of adjustments. I don't get involved in it. It just happens. I usually get this thing that's like, being overdoing. So I'm like, okay. So I just chill out, and just like massive amounts of energy moves through, and then that's it. And then it goes wherever I am located. Wow. Something is happening. So, and that's fine. So I don't try and go into a space and be like, oh, I'm going to heal the grid and do X, Y, Z, because I don't, it happens. Okay. So the dragons that I work with, they call themselves, I just call them the dragon consciousness, and I have identified themselves as, well, being beyond the threshold of creation. That's their term. So it's like they don't identify as being a creator race. They're not necessarily watchers. And I know that it's like, I'm realizing that I'm like stopping this down like a lot energetically. It's like my galactic family is like here. And then they brought me into this universe and like handed me to the Arcturians and were like, don't let anything happen to her. And then now I'm in this universe doing a bunch of things. So the dragon frequencies are really high vibrational energies, and there are dragons in all of anything that is solar. So all of the suns, all of the grand central suns, all of these kind of like big energies, all of these sun disks that are part of our Earth grid, and they're also very involved with like dragon lines, like in the Earth. And so there's a bunch of different types of dragon frequencies. Dragons have been coming in a lot because, one, they get permission from the planet in order to take a form. And when they take that form, they can take they bring in every element of the planet in that body. And they're doing that because they're reminding us that we have like every element that exists within the earth. So when we are birthing the new human through us, we are able to transmute and to be able to go through a metamorphosis process just like they are. So they reflect that a lot to us, which is why they're so embedded in the soul, in alchemy, and in a lot of our histories. And it's also why reptilians are reptilians, right? Because if you've noticed, anything that is a good thing always has some shady looking thing next to it that looks like that, so that you're afraid of it. So then you won't open to the divine thing. So there's absolutely no reptilian DNA in dragon DNA. They are very different, but yes, they look similar, and there is a reason for that. So discernment, and not to be afraid when you have a dragon being or a dragon guide and you know it's a dragon, then let it be the dragon and work with that.
That's such a good point.
Yeah, let it work with that. The dragons used to be embodied on this planet. I have memories of being a dragon. I don't know what planet that I was on. Mahana was also a dragon. And so a lot of our animals also are galactic energies or have cosmic energies. And I know that she struggles in this body because it's a little Boston Terrier. And she's said multiple times, it's so much easier to be like, she's been on this planet as like an elephant. Like I've had a past life with her and I together, and she was an elephant. She's like, it's so much easier to like come in a larger body, which is why the cetacean beings and the whales are so big, is because they're very much connected to a lot of the water planets and a lot of these galactic energies. And they are sounding into the water bodies, right? Because they are making adjustments in the water, which supports the land and supports us. And the dragons and these water beings frequently, they work together a lot, right? And there are water dragons. And Lemurians, you could have memories of working with dragons. There are also Atlantean dragons, but they went underground like immediately. They're like, stuff is about to hit the fan. We're going down. And so you can find a lot of dragon energies in Earth. This is also why we'll just say the shadow part, the control, or whatever term you want to use, the shadowy parts, the beings and the energies in power that wish to have power over you would like you to be very disconnected from the earth, because when you are disconnected from the earth, you are keeping yourself like a natural healing environment, because it's those lower frequencies that we're like, I don't want to have anything to do with that actually support our physical structure, which have a lot of higher vibrational energy in them.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the dragons and a lot of beings are in like in earth, helping to facilitate and to keep like the sphere of Amenti functioning and things opening and portals and stuff functioning in a really high vibrational way. So a lot of you might totally be, I'm super open to dragons. I love dragons, and I would do a whole course on dragons if I thought anybody would take it, but I haven't gotten the it's not the time yet. So hopefully more dragon people will come online.
I think a lot of people are interested in dragons. I bet if you put it out there, you'd get a bigger response than you might expect.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad that you said that there's no DNA, you know, in dragons that there is in reptilians or reptiles even, because, you know, I've always wondered that, like, they do kind of look alike, but the energy is very different. And dragons are obviously very healing beings. They're protectors. I don't get that feeling from the reptilians. So
no, and I always like every time I tune into somebody that they have the thing going on where they've come in almost with like a reptilian counterpart, let's say, and they're meant to like merge those, or people that have had reptilian lifetime, like that is a big part of their soul, and they come here to transmute that. That always like makes me so emotional, because it's so challenging, right? But because a lot of galactic beings can shapeshift, right? I mean, and the strength of a reptilian is to take a different form and to shapeshift, and dragons can do the same thing. So you would just you would shapeshift into the thing, and then be your scary self, right? Because that helps to create confusion, and anytime anybody's confused, that makes them easier to manipulate.
Right. Exactly. Good point. So wonderful. So for everyone who is watching, if you guys don't know, or if you just tuned in, we're talking with Galactic Ashley. She is a teacher, she's a healer, she's a reader, she did a lot of different things. We talked about it earlier. And she's offering a 10-week course that you guys can take to learn more about yourself or anything that you want to do in the metaphysical realms. Like if you wanted to learn more light language, or you wanted to, you know, develop some of your intuition or intuitive abilities. Here's her coupon code up on the screen if you want to go check that out. And also you can follow her Instagram and Facebook, and I put her handles up on the screen so you guys can check her out as well. So Ashley, one of the big things that you do is you channel crystal skulls, and we had talked about possibly doing a live channeling tonight, because I was gifted a crystal skull, and by my dear friend Lisa Frith. Lisa, if you ever end up watching this video, you might find it interesting to find out what it has to say. And I know that crystal skulls, like the interest in them has really taken off in the past few years, I've noticed, because I've always been kind of like, well, what are crystal skulls? Why are people so interested in them? Because I'm really into crystals and I love crystals. And I do crystal healing work and I make bracelets with crystals, but like I just never looked into the crystal skull thing. So I would love if you could share with us, like, I know that there were some original ones that were found and they're supposed to be amazing. If you could talk a little bit about the history of crystal skulls, how they came into being, and why we have all these replicas now, that would help shed some light on that for me. And guys, if you're watching this video, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done that already. So just gotta put that out there. And thank you, Dave Scott, for hopping in the chat room. If you're still with us, that's so cool that you like our channel as channel, and I'll do the same thing back if I haven't already. So Ashley, please share with us about the crystal skulls. That would be awesome. And I'm going to go get my skull while you're talking.
Okay, sure. All right. So there's so many things about crystal skulls.
Sorry.
Oh, you really took, it's just me all by myself.
I'll be right back.
So weird. They are essentially, like, at their core, they are reminding us that they're mirroring ourselves to them. So again, just as actually really great transition. So just like you have these reptilians that look like dragons, which then keep us from connecting to the dragons because we're afraid. Crystal skulls become this thing thanks to media and other stuff, dark things. The crystal skulls become this scary thing that has to do with death. And what they really are is they are just like us. And so what they say and what the beings always say is that we are the technology that we've been waiting for. So within us already exists all the technology that we need to communicate, to remember, to understand. And we, just like these skulls, can receive activations and expand and work on our DNA and expand in our consciousness, right? So crystal skulls are able to receive like they're able to transmit information. They are able to download and store information. And they're just like when we work with our computers, it's the same thing. They have this huge capacity to store energy, and that's exactly what we are and what we are able to do. We just don't think that we can remember. So how many times do you say I don't know rather than I have not yet remembered? And in a lot of ways, the crystal skulls, they are. So here's another thing. We'll talk about language, right? Like Christ, religion is kind of like messed up a lot of things for people, right? So if you don't want to have anything to do with Christ, but then we talk about crystal and that we are in a planet and in a space that is very much based on Christ consciousness, which you could call crystal consciousness or Christed crystalline consciousness, right? That is what our earth is. That is what we are. So we are constantly being asked to go deeper into our cores to remember that we are the Christed ones. We are the crystalline. So Christ and crystal to me are the same, and they're embodying the same thing. So our grid system has these crystalline energies that run through them, and those crystalline energies are connected to the galactic system, right? Because we're no longer in an encapsulated grid system. We're back into like this open source kind of field and information, and all of these solar codes, they're connected to these energies and these frequencies that sort of set up this map and these pathways that we can connect through or outside of space and time. So crystal skulls, we tend to get attached to, I want to be a guardian of an ancient crystal skull. And then people say, well, they did some tests on that skull and that crystal skull's not real. So what I say to that, and I went through this on my YouTube channel, there's a whole thing about language. I've only gotten through 3 words, but belief, proof, and deserve were the first 3 words that we went through. And proof doesn't exist, right? Proof only proves that which you are willing to believe or what you are ready to believe. So proof does nothing. But if you go in front of like Max or one of these crystal skulls and you have a profound experience, maybe a mystical one, don't let somebody tell you, well, that's not really an ancient crystal skull, because what the crystal skulls would say is that every crystal is ancient because the material that it is made from is ancient, right? So it's the ego that likes to get involved. So yes, you could say that some of these ancient crystal skulls are actually that they have had participation with galactic beings that have come in to store downloads in it. But this would be like if you had a Lemurian lifetime or even an Atlantean lifetime during these like the Lemurian Holocaust, or during anytime there was a cataclysmic event, and like the cataclysms are extremely really, really soul level challenging. And so there's a lot that's going on right now where some of these parts of these consciousnesses have actually been like trapped in, like, I don't know, you can call it the Bardo parts of the grid, but like these parts of the grid system, and they're kind of being used. But anyways, we're not going to get sidetracked on that. But the point is that what happens is like a lot of these consciousness fields and this information was stored in the crystals. So ideally, if you had a Lemurian lifetime or an Atlantean one, and when you died or transitioned at that cataclysmic moment, when you went to sleep, it was your consciousness that was infused into the crystals. So what that means is that you, because that was you carry within you the codes to access the information, right? Because it does no good if I'm sitting here with a crystal and somebody's like, oh, this crystal skull is activated like to the 12th level and all the levels are expanded. Well, that's great. So now I'm looking at a crystal skull. So how do I access that information, right? So generally you would find or have a crystal skull or something, or even a crystal, right, that is going to resonate with you, and you're going to remember that you have the codes within you, and they're going to help you to remember these lifetime experiences so that you can really heal yourself and then heal these lifetimes that are coming up that really need to be healed. And that, because we're in this transitional phase where the earth is just really like bringing up these lifetimes. And now that we're in this, we just switched into Aquarius. We're opposite on the zodiac circle to where Atlantis was. So like we're facing ourselves, and ourselves are both in the future and in the past. And the beings like to call this, it's our anticipatory histories. I always just love that term. So when we heal things now, it changes the past and then shifts our future. And so the skulls are reminding us, because they are vehicles of Christ. They are vehicles of crystallinity, right? And they are reminding us that that's what we are. So whenever I do a crystal skull activation, I'm very clear that I'm also activating the person, because it does no good to have some kind of super high vibrational crystal skull around you that you can't like do anything with, because you haven't gone. You have to like share the activation so that you can sort of access information. So
what is a crystal skull activation?
It's when it's kind of like my understanding is that there are like 12 activations, right? Because again, they're going to be reflecting our like DNA. And that within each of those activations, there are layers. I got to do the math here. But that there are 3 layers, because 3 times 4 layers, there's 4. That there are layers in it, just so it's also reflecting our dimensions, right? So if we're in a 3rd dimension, we want to shift to a 4th dimension, there are going to be layers within that dimension that we have to expand before we can go into the 4th like dimension and live that as like a physical reality, because our spiritual selves need to be living in one dimension higher than the one that we're physically experiencing. So they're teaching us that too. So basically, when your skull is activated, it's like each of us, we can get activations. Like the information's already there. You're just waking that information up. So then when a human and a skull are together and you're waking that information up in both of them, then they can create a synergy between the two. And then you can start remembering things, because within this skull, like if you're a reader, let's say you're a reader and you're like, I read Akashic records. Then you can use your skull to help you to read the Akashic records, with the idea that you're never giving your power over to the skull, that it's part of the earth, but also connected to the quantum field. So it's also reminding you that you have a physical structure that you are in, and that you are also connected to the earth, but that this is also your skull. Right? Like our skulls are crystalline. We have in our brain, there are literal crystals in our brain. So
what's the difference between a crystal like this and a crystal skull? Like, they're both crystal, they're both recorders of information, and they also both have healing abilities.
Right. So my understanding is that there is a crystalline consciousness field, there is a crystal field, and there is a crystal skull field. So they do meet where the crystalline consciousness is, and then the crystal skulls also meet the crystal fields, because let's say we're just going to use this one because it's right here. This is a smoky citrine. So this is smoky citrine. So this is connected with all smoky citrines, but because it also is carrying the skull shape, it is also connected to this another level of consciousness that was brought here as a storage device, kind of like a memory system for us. You could say it was brought here by the Galactics. That's why it given to the shamans, right? The grounded ones, to kind of keep for us. And then there are all of these skulls that are being made that people are connecting to, right? There's so many here. This one is like a solar one, right? And they're having different shapes, and they're connected.
You're frozen. Okay, now you're back.
Am I back? Okay.
You're back. Ooh, that one's cool.
Yeah. This one has a lot of dragon energy, so of course you would like it. And then it depends on where they're coming from too, and then how they were brought online. But what they are is that they are here and they are lighting up now, because right now, more than anything, we are being asked to remember. And we are being asked to discern between what is a false memory and what is an organic memory. So what is organic? What is inorganic? What is ours? What was implanted collectively or whatever? It's not necessarily a being came in and put something in your head. But we have a lot of beliefs and a lot of memories that are false, but that we believe actually happened to us when they didn't. So they are asking us and reminding us to remember. And that's what we are being guided to do. And that is one of the reasons why they are coming online, because they want us to remember, because the reason why we don't remember is because it was removed, it was distorted and it was removed so that we don't actually have access to it. So we're wanting to remember, and there's enough of us there that when we come together and we start looking around and looking in past lifetimes and really finding out the truth, not what is true. And so what I mean by that is the Syrians came in last week in our group, and they brought us to the Sphinx, and they brought us
who did? Sorry, you're cutting out in and out a little bit. I don't know.
I'm gonna.
Who came into your group last week? Can you just say that again?
Yeah, the Syrians. I'm gonna start
Syrians. Okay.
I'm gonna force quit a bunch of stuff on my computer. Maybe that will help. I have Illustrator and Lightroom
Yes.
and Adobe
Yes.
Photoshop
Quit
open.
all that
Sorry.
stuff. Yeah. Yeah, that stuff
I
uses a
usually
ton of
know-
processing.
Sorry, I know
memory.
better than that. Sorry, like 1,000 things open. I didn't realize. I closed all of my other browser windows.
No worries.
All right.
What did I just ask you? Oh yeah, Syrians. You were saying the Syrians came through in your class.
Right, because we're being asked right now, the crystal skulls, basically everything is reflecting to us to like what is true and what is truth. Those are very different things. So the Syrians basically came in and they just huge amounts of information and big transmissions on healing. But one of the things they brought us to was basically the Sphinx. And they're like, look at the Sphinx. Like there's a man face on there. And that is true. It is true that there's a man face on there. But what is the truth? Right? They talked about holographic geographies and stuff like that. But the truth is that was originally a lion's face. And it was specifically in Elohim, Lyran, feline being. So the divine feminine. So that divine feminine and a man face put on it. And like that is what we believe our history to be, right? So we have to explore and let go of what is true so that we can access the truth. And then the more that our consciousness expands, that truth will expand, right? And you will be building upon it. So maybe the first time you go and see something, you'll be like, okay, that's true. You don't know that it's necessarily the lion face, but you know that that's not the face, right? So that is a truth. And then you can keep expanding on that. So that's the crystal skulls are helping us to remember that. And they help us with our healing, and they help us to connect because so many people have incarnated at this time to rewrite a lot of these cataclysmic events.
Wow. That's so important.
Yeah.
So Pat wants to know if you know about the 12 ancient skulls, and some say that there's 13. And he also wants to know if you've ever seen the crystal skull Einstein.
Sorry, the crystal skull almost fell off my lap. Yes, I have. This is a skull that was activated by Einstein that I actually just got, and I love.
Oh wow! Let me put you on solo layout so we can get a better view of that. Cool. What is it? Metal?
It is healer's gold.
Oh wow, like pyrite, kind of.
Not a golden healer. I actually have a golden healer right here, so you
looks
can tell
like pyrite.
Yeah. So yeah, there is pyrite in here. So this one was activated by Einstein, meaning I got this from them. But I have not sat in front of Einstein, but I know who Einstein is. And they're actually a really great example. Her name is Carolyn, right? So Carolyn, they are, forget the story, but they're connected. And so she is connected with this skull, and she takes him home. And I think she spent 20, maybe 10, but I think it was 20 years sitting with Einstein and connecting with Einstein and understanding and bringing through information before she came out with Einstein. So this is my point.
Wow.
Like, I feel like people that come that are meant to, and I'm going to say contracted with these ancient crystal skulls, whether they're ancient or not, they're just big powerhouses, right? That they're with to bring through this information. It takes a minute, right? So there's a lot of people that are like, I want an ancient crystal skull because whatever, and it could just be like the ego wanting that. But when you understand that this changes your life, you might not actually want that, because this becomes like like there is a contract. She is the guardian. Her whole life revolves around it, as do like the Maxes and the there's another place, and that this skull came from them they're in Canada. It starts with an A. I'm totally blanking, but they have a bunch of like ancient crystal skulls, and you can get crystal skulls from them too. But they don't have to be that. You don't have to have them be activated by one of these skulls. But a lot of people have these very profound experiences in front of Einstein or Max. And what's happening is that they are reflecting your Christ consciousness back to you. They are witnesses and they are reflectors. So that also means if you're being an asshole, sorry, bad language, they're going to reflect that and amplify that. So
show us your ring.
What? This one?
Show us your ring. The ring you're wearing.
This one or this one?
Yeah.
This one?
The skull. Is that a crystal skull?
It's not a crystal skull, but I was going through this thing and I really liked it. And it has moldavite. I had moldavite put in the eyes and then a diamond on the head. And then there's a black pearl in the head part right here. Sorry. Right here. And then it has these like wings on the side.
That's really cool.
Yeah. I had it made because my mom's side of the family is Tahitian, and so black pearls actually mean a lot to me. So I love that.
Oh, cool.
And then moldavite. I can't exist without moldavite.
I know. It's a good one. It's definitely a good one.
Yeah.
And why do you wear the one on the third eye?
This one?
Yes.
I usually wear it at like events and stuff. I have another one that's a moldavite one. A woman, she channels these and she makes them and she puts them together. And so I was just fascinated by it. And now I kind of want to make my own because I have another little skull that kind of came into my life, and it's a okay, hold on. Up, down is up.
I know everything's backwards.
Libyan tektite, right? So I kind of want to make one of these out of this guy, but I want to do it myself.
Wow, that's cool. What's the one you have up on your third eye right now?
It is.
It's like teal colored. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it is. And so this is kind of why I like having somebody make something for you, because I would have never picked any of this. And she's actually really incredible. I cannot think of her name right now. Sorry. Wherever you are. And she makes these things for people all over the world too. So it's actually really fascinating to see where she's sending this stuff to. This is what it says it's like blue obsidian, but that really means that it's glass, right?
Yes.
Right. So it's not necessarily
that's what it is.
Obsidian. So I was like, what the hell? Like, why do I have this? And here's the thing is that so many of these crystals, like I would be somewhere and I would like win a crystal and it would be one of those heat treated ones. And I'm just like, I don't understand. It's not organic. You know, and then
like this one.
Like, the beings are like, yeah, the beings are like
colored.
Yeah. The beings are like, all right, so we're going to work through this and we're going to send you more. And I actually, so I started to embrace at least the aqua aura and the angel aura ones. But
that's so beautiful.
Yeah, you have to, it can't be the foiled one. It has to be like the one, there's actually a real process and it's done. And no, I don't want to tune in. Is the crystal screaming?
Let me.
Crystal? I don't think so. I feel like
do people ask you that?
They understand what's happening. So what's happening is that gold is getting infused to this. And so I was like, oh, okay. Right? Because essentially our DNA is golden. We have golden strands, and this is basically a reflection of us and the alchemical process that we are going through. So the volatile state within alchemy is the part where the boiling happens, is the part where the intensity happens, and everything is intensified before it switches to gold. So you have to go through that. So that's what these are reflecting. So this is like glass, and I'm like, what's the deal with this, right? So
I have that same stone that on one of my wands. It's blue obsidian.
Yeah.
And this is
okay, good.
Aqua
You're just
Aura.
I am.
Yeah, I'm just as bad as you. This is Aqua Aura, my mermaid bracelet.
That's
Can
awesome. And so there's a bunch of Aqua Aura stuff in here because she's like channeling your beings and bringing through basically what they're telling her to do. She is on.
Awesome.
I know that if you went to my Instagram, I have tagged her multiple times and things because
okay, cool.
She's really great. And I'm sorry. And that's with this. And you make these too. So people should definitely go to you for this stuff also. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I just put up your Instagram for anyone who wants to go check out the headwear. It's pretty awesome.
It is. So it's
cool.
Fascinating. I like my other one too. I also like this one. So basically when I looked online, I was like, all right, what's the deal with glass and what's the deal with crystal? Because they're kind of the same. Basically, the matrix is all kind of effed up in glass, right? And so in crystal, it's not. Even if it's been formed and there's been a place where it's split, it will always replicate itself in the fractal field that we are. Glass, when it's man-made, is not. But there's all of these, I don't have one in here, that Andara stuff, right? Like that is coming from something, but it is essentially glass, but it's also more than that. So again, when you experience something from it, always honor that. So with the matrix being messed up in glass, to me, the message that came through was like, the earth has a messed up matrix. A lot of your matrices are screwed up too. That's why you're healing them and bringing them back together. And so you can do that, and it's all within you. And so essentially glass and crystal are not really that far off. So it's almost like we're glass, remembering that we're crystal, and then we can be that crystalline being. And then as that, then we start healing ourselves and fixing within our past and within our energy fields where there was a bifurcation split, and bringing those back together, and then kind of locating where the seed was planted so that you can, identify the beginning of where these patterns started in your life.
Wow. Thank you for that. That's amazing. And I just remembered this is the Aqua Aura necklace version of that bracelet. So it's funny that you
around your neck.
Yeah, and it's funny you brought up Aqua Aura and Angel Aura because I'm wearing it tonight by coincidence.
And that's so it's just really an important part of like of who we are and what we're going through. But even on top of that, with this, like, funny because today in the course, we basically brought in this 13th pillar, and we were bringing in these frequencies of alkaline energies. And these are really important energies because they are connected with the Divine Mother, with the Cosmic Mother, with a lot of the stuff that is coming up for us to heal, which is very much focused on the feminine. And for those of you that are like, what about the toxic masculine? The messages that I've been getting is that the masculine cannot be healed unless the feminine is healed first, because it's always feminine first in the creation of the universe, because the feminine goes out, becomes the darkness, holds the space, and then invites the masculine in. So if the masculine needs healing, we need to have the feminine remembered, to remember and connect the feminine principle to the solar energies, because she is not only lunar. And I don't want to get into that because the moon is sometimes a wonky thing.
It's a wonky subject.
It's a wonky subject. But we need to connect to these solar frequencies and connect the feminine to that, because there are deities that are female. There's one in the Chinese, and I cannot remember the name, and I hope somebody here knows, but she basically went into a cave and brought light in, and it starts with an A. And when we look at the Egyptian pantheon, like a lot of the deities with the solar discs, like the feminine principle is also in the sun. So when we connect to the feminine principle and invite the divine feminine in, then we can start remembering the divine feminine. And through that, that is how the toxic masculine is healed. And that is also, to me, and the messages that I got is that disclosure will happen when the divine feminine, when we bring the divine feminine in, when we heal the feminine wounds, invite the divine feminine in, then like disclosure can happen. Because right now it's very much mental, it's very much of the mind, and it's not really synchronized with the heart. And it's a lot of it is about right and wrong. And I love all of the people that this is part of their soul. Like what they're here to do is to be in the disclosure movement and to bring a lot of this information up. But right now we just have a lot of information without the heart energy being involved to discern between what's what. And even when we are in the embryo, it is, or uterus, when we are female first, and our heart actually grows first, and then the chromosomes will come in, and then that is when, even if it's decided at conception, right, if the child will be a boy or a girl, it still grows as a woman, like as a female, for a while until the chromosomes come in and then switch it. So again, everything is feminine first. And so that's all. So it's not feminine better. It's not only feminine. It's not boo masculine. It is about integrating these two and unifying them. And we're designed to do this.
Yeah, like, that's amazing.
Literally designed to do this.
Thank you for that reminder. So we've got about 20 minutes left in our session. It just goes by so fast. I can't believe it. And I would love it if you were still up for doing a live channeling.
Yeah, we can channel. Do you want just let me know, and if we can go ahead and ask some questions too. That's fine.
Okay. And then before we do that, Pat said he wanted to know if I had Gabbro, and I don't know what that is. Do you know what that is? Gabbro.
Like the stone?
I guess so. I'm guessing it's a stone because he said that he gave it to someone and it helped them.
I know that there's but that is something else. I know that there's a stone that starts with a G, but that's a goby. Not even close.
Well, we don't know what it is, Pat, so feel free to tell us. And I don't think you can post links in the chat room because I think you have to be a moderator, or only we can post links or something like that. So we will come back to that as well. So thank you guys for joining us. If you're new and you just signed on, we're talking with Galactic Ashley right now. And this is her website, galacticashley.com. And she's also offering a discount on her courses right now, a $25 off coupon. And there's the code if you guys are interested. And if you want to check her out more, just check out her website, or you can go on Instagram or Facebook. So cool. If you guys have any more questions about crystal skulls, please put them in the chat room. And we are going to do a live channeling, which I'm so excited about because Lisa Frith gave me this, Pat. I think you know her. But anyways, she's like the crystal skull lady. She goes around gifting these to people. And she gave this to me at Conscious Life Expo. Was it 2020? It might have been 2020, this last time I went before coronavirus. And I know she's really into these guys, and she has a bunch of them herself. So, and I know Jimmy Church and all those guys are really into these. So yeah, I would love to know what this little guy has to say.
Okay.
Oh, you have one of her. Pat says he has one of hers too. That's awesome. She is awesome.
So if anybody's listening, you can bring your crystal skulls and we can just activate them all.
Ooh. I think
and
Pat
then-
might have some. Is that your dog?
Yeah.
Is he gonna wake up and make an appearance before we go?
Yeah, she just stood up, so I'll grab her right
Oh,
now.
she did? Oh, that's so funny.
I mean, she was getting kind of antsy.
Oh, hi, baby. She's so cute.
Yeah, she's like, yes.
She's a Boston Terrier. So
Yep.
cute. Love her. I have a little Chihuahua mix, similar in size to her, but she's like chocolate brown and white and caramel.
Okay, hold on, maybe. Okay, so if you are at home, you can grab your crystals or crystal skulls. And if you don't have one, you can just pick a bone in your body. I think the sternum is always a good one. I consider that to be the master crystal of the skeletal system, right? A lot of people are like, what about the pineal gland? It's like, okay, that's a master crystal too. But the sternum, there's actually 3 parts to it, and a lot of it it's connected to the high heart, which is up here, but it's also like a part of a bone, right? That could be amplifying or helping your heart field too. Okay. Anyways. All right. So what are we doing?
Not to put you on the spot.
No. I'm sorry. I'm going to mute myself really quick so I can cough about it.
Go for it. I'm going to turn my light down a little bit because it's feeling extra bright.
All right. So you can, after this, you can ask whatever. You can ask questions too about skulls or not skulls.
Actually, I have a question. I remember something about like turning it towards you or turning it away from you. Like there's something about that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. Generally they'll always say to I think it's good when you are connecting with it to look at it, but to go ahead and see how it feels different when it's away from you. When we get to the activation part, I will hold this. This is my activator skull. I will hold this up to the screen. So if you wanted to hold your crystal skull up so they could make eye contact, that's fine. But again, we're beyond space and time, so it's not that big of a deal.
Okay.
Okay. Dang, maybe who needs to clear their throat chakra?
Should I put you on solo layout?
You can
Do you
do
mind?
whatever
Okay.
you want. Holy smokes.
We'll put you on solo layout. Okay, maybe she's not ready. Okay,
No, sorry, I am ready.
Sorry, guys.
Everybody just cough a whole bunch. Like I feel like I have like a giant loogie, and I'm like, what is going on?
Throat activation.
I'm not blaming you. Don't worry.
Maybe you need to do some light language.
Okay.
All right.
That's okay. So there'll be a point to all of this. So let's all take a deep breath in. We can imagine that our hearts are expanding. And with every breath that we take, we find ourselves being drawn into the center of the earth, the new earth, the earth that always was, is, and will be, the earth that we know her to be. And while we are preparing for this skull activation for all of your crystal scullies, we will connect to our own skeletal system, understanding that our skeletal system is facilitating and helping our physical bodies have structure, and that we are reminded that the earth co-created this skeletal system for you, and that our skeletal systems are transmission devices. These are the parts of our natural technology that exists within us that is able to bring in frequencies from our cosmic knowingness to help us connect to the heart and to the center of the universe. And that as we do this, these frequencies, we can feel them vibrating through us. And in this vibration, it is like we are these crystal bowls, and we are sending these frequencies through our blood bodies, our water bodies, our crystalline beings. And so just tune into that and allow these natural vibrations to move through you as you are connected to both the earth and the center of the grand central sun. And we invite in all of the of your soul's guidance system, and we ask that the ultraviolet dragon beings draw a flaming circle of light around us, so that in this space we know that only that which is the light is connecting with us. And we are bringing in centering and a sense of belonging and of being a part of our mission and of our purpose in this space, remembering that we are bioluminescent beings, and that it is this light that is coming from our skeletal system. So imagine like when sun shines on your crystal, how it lights up, it becomes illuminated from within. This is a reflection of who you are in your own divine illumination. So let us imagine, and we will just do this, that we are being brought into a crystalline space within the new earth, and the earth is sharing her crystalline consciousness within us so that we are able to remember these frequencies. And as such, let us imagine that there are 12 pillars of light that come down, and each pillar holds within it an ancient crystal skull. And within this pillar in the center, you find your 13th pillar. But what it is that you notice that there is no skull in this space. And what we are being reminded of is that we ask that each and every one of you with your own skull step into this pillar of light, this 13th pillar. And as you are in this space, we will bring through transmission and a activation for you and your skull. So just keep in mind that you are in a safe space, that you are standing in this beautiful, extremely high vibrational, platinum, gold, and very metallic pillar of frequency that is coming through straight from the source field of the crystalline consciousness. And all around you, you are surrounded by 12 pillars of light and of frequencies. These are pure frequencies, and each one of them has an ancient crystal skull within it. So as you stand there, you can hold your own crystal skull in your hand. Hanyalatay shumbahan yalatay akumbashin yalay. In yalatay shuman yalatayaw mamanyayayayayayaya in yalatay shum. An yalatay akumbahan da shum. In yalataya la hukaya shumbayinda hina la hoaya shunyaya humbachin yashin yalatai. Bachanda yalataya hangata shumban yalataya humbachanda shumbachanda shum. In yalataya humbaya la humbaya umman yalachanda shumbaya handai. Ashunyalai, 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 ala huai, ahumbai, ashungan yalataya, bohanda shumban yalataya, in yalataya shumbahan, in yalataya laya, umbahan yalataya, humbain yalataya, humbai, ashunyalata, umbaya, in yahanda, handa. Inga tashunya tiala taya agung kahita shunga tashumba anyala taya kunda shinyala taya bohan aumanyala taya shumbaya handai o amana shumanyala ya indo ashum inna shumbahanda hanyala taya hum Indai shuai atashutai. So as each of you are sitting in this space, we have brought in the activations for both you and your skull, but stay in this pyramid of this space. And as you are looking around within these dimensional realms that we have brought forward to you, what we are here to remind you of is that we are not waiting for the 13th crystal skull. We are waiting for you, because it is you that is connected to each and every one of these skulls. Each of them contains the information, and it is you that exists within this shared consciousness field. You are the 13th crystal skull. It is as if when you are waiting for the second coming, when you are waiting for the Christ to return, the message for you is to remember that each and every one of you is the Christed ones, that you are the golden energies, you are the golden healers, you are here to embody, to become the vehicle of Christ. So as each one of us, these crystalline beings with these consciousness, with these head shapes that are yours, we are reflecting to you. So as each one of you are in this space, allow yourself to feel the geometric structures within your being and to tune into the frequencies of your own DNA and to intend with clear intention to receive a DNA activation that will help you to remember that which you are able to receive in this point, in this place, is safe for you, but to remember and to have an activation, to have a memory be released to you. And as such, there will be an activation and a crystallization where these DNA parts will come together so that you are able to remember, because everything that you need is already within you. And we understand the frustration in hearing this because it is there, but you must remember it. And so the challenge at this time is that there are many infrastructures and structures of which you have based your frequencies on, which have been based on what your belief systems are. But when you understand that your skeletal system, that your structure is constantly sending out into the universe these frequencies, you want your frequencies to be organic. You want your frequencies to be yours because you want to house within you the crystalline or the Christed body, because you are the second coming. And it is you that is being asked to respond to this, to heal and to find your truth. So in this transmission, we also bring you courage, the courage to invite the frequency of truth into the foundation of your core, into the system of that which you are, so that you understand that you are an embodied celestial or galactic being. Both of these are the same, in that you are here as an angel or a galactic to bring through your physical structure the new human. And as such, you will eventually develop the awareness that you are the living thought forms of this planet. It is not that you are a being on the planet, but that when you are able to hold these purer frequencies, when you are able to heal that which needs to heal, and you are able to bring in within your system a balance of the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and you, the Christed child, the children of the sun, SUN, as you are the sub logos, but a part of the whole, which is a part of source. And that when you shine this light and you come together as a collective, it is within this collective consciousness that you develop the awareness that you are not a being on the planet, but that you are the creators, that you are a creator God. And in this collective space, you are the thought forms that the planet projects out into the universe. And this is in many ways how you understand how it is that your ascension process will work. So when you are working with this crystal or this crystal skull that you have within you, allow it to remind you of your truth. It can do so gently. It can reflect to you the God self that is within you. It can help you to hone in and to focus and to choose and to remember your sovereignty, because every single choice that you make in your life, especially that which is diction, understand that when you speak, you are languaging your architecture. You are creating the blueprints of your life based on the frequencies of sound and the word choice that you choose. So your word choice is one area in which you can focus, and you can celebrate that through the words that you choose to use, you are being the designer of your universe. And each one of you is a planetary body in and unto itself. And this is how you are able to connect with this planet in which you are existing within. And so as such, we hope that when you are working with your crystal skull, that you will allow it to witness you as you heal, that you will allow it to witness you as you celebrate, and that you will allow it to reflect to you the truths of which you are, that it will reflect to you the information and the consciousness and the knowledge that you already have within you, so that you are able to embody it and bring it into your crystal core, into your crystal structure, so that you are being the embodied source that you are meant to be. Because within this dimension, you must embody the knowledge so that it becomes the wisdom. And it is through that wisdom that empowers you to create things, to create energy fields within your experience that become life altering, life shifting, and begin to shift the earth and to create that which is how you remember life to be. And so with that, we say thank you, thank you, thank you, and we love you, we love you, we love you.
Wow, that was amazing. Thank you so much, Ashley. Powerful message that came through tonight. How's everyone doing in the chat room? Are you guys feeling it? Please comment if you're still with us. I know some of you are still there, but you're probably like, that was really intense. And what a great message too, right? Like, we are the beings that need to remember and come back and help ourselves.
Mm-hmm. I mean, so much
wow.
of all of the messages are just about claiming sovereignty and just being willing. Because I mean, it takes the trouble. It's not the trouble, but the challenge with truth is when those truths disintegrate, or what you believe to be is true that you've based your belief systems on. A lot of this is subconscious too. All of a sudden, what you thought was up is down and left is right, and your whole world gets flipped around, and that there's this part of us that is terrified of that, right? And so that's why like you have to have the courage to invite the frequency of truth in, because the power of disruption is that it will create a disruption. Ideally, if we're really like tuned in, we want to invite in this like a disruption, because a disruption is when whatever thought train we're on or whatever thing that we're doing, it's disrupted enough for us to be like, wait a minute, what am I doing? And to choose differently. The problem is that we just keep going. So then that disruption becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. It becomes like a divorce, or it becomes like there's a death, or there's some kind of huge change. So then that little disruption that we ignored becomes a larger disruption. So technically on some level, everything that is for you is going to find you. But the when we resist less, it helps. But it's like once we know, we can't unknow. And so when we invite these truths in, it really shifts things. But it's what we need.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for that reminder that we are the infinite creators, because as I'm going through a major shift in my life, it's a helpful reminder to me to like remember that everything we say, everything we dream, everything we want to create or manifest, we have the power to do that through our words, through our choices, through our intentions. So
and
very sage advice.
Yeah. One of the other things that they're reminding me of real quickly, and then I'll be quiet, is that when you look at like all of the orifices that we have on our body are in a way, they're like vortexes or energies. And we're not going to get into all of that. But the one that is the one opening in our body that is both the feminine and the masculine is our mouth. Right? Like it is already integrated. And so it is already in itself like the voice of God. And so this is why it's so like we came here into a density. We did not come here without the ability to create, because we create it with words. This is why so many of the creation stories are like, and then whatever, there was the word, and the word was God, yada, yada, because these are the sound vibrations and the sound frequencies that come out to create the thing, whatever it is. And it's the breath, right? So every time we take a breath, we are creating.
Yeah. Isn't that like Genesis chapter 1 where they talk about the word? Yeah. Wow. So beautiful. If you guys have any questions or comments on your experience, if you guys activated a crystal skull or any crystal tonight, please share in the chat room. And what do you have coming up next, Ashley? Do you have anything? I know you're in the middle of a course right now. Do you have another course starting in the fall?
Yeah. So the one, and you can still join the one that we're in right now, because we meet once a week and then on Sundays. But the Sundays are scattered and they're more towards the end. So technically, if you joined, like, let's say you joined today, you would only have to, you kind of would just catch up on three classes. There's still like 7 more weeks to go. So, and you'll have access to it after it's over. And week 1 doesn't build on week 2. It's basically these galactic beings that are awesome are coming in. We have the Andromedans this week. Next week, I think it's the cetacean beings. So every week they're coming in with transmissions and downloads, and doesn't matter where you are. If you don't know that much or you know a whole bunch, it's for you. And I'm not trying to like push this for any other reason other than it's like so awesome. And I'm learning a lot in it too, and having like my own experiences, which has been really fascinating. And the group is awesome. So that is what is happening now. It's not too late to join. I'm going to close registration probably next week though. So the next one that I am having is a channeling course. It's not available yet to register for, but I will be starting a 10-week channeling course on, I think, the second week in October.
Hmm.
And that will also be awesome. And so you can do it to channel your higher self, or if you want to explore being like that, what you channel or choose the channel will be up to you. But we're going to go through a lot of the healing and the part of it, and then understand. And it's all about it's called sovereignty and the sacred art of channeling. So it's very much about you having sovereignty and not giving up anything, and then understanding how you are designed to bring in information and to channel it. And we talk about the different types of channeling and all the things. And it's also awesome.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So cool. That would be a lot of fun, I'm sure. And are your classes all done online, like on Zoom or something similar?
Yes, I have a course is embedded in my website. So when you sign up, you have access to a lot of information. And then we have a Facebook group. Right now it's on Facebook. Eventually the long term is to get it in a place that's not Facebook, but is set up similar to that. It is all online and on Zoom, and that's where we meet and we come together. And a lot of times we go into breakout rooms and do different things. So a lot of people have found like soul like family through this group. Was not something, I mean, I guess it seems obvious, but in hindsight it seems obvious, but I wasn't like setting the intention. But it's sort of fascinating that there's been a lot of like long-term like friendships and reunions of people that, you know, because like you're in Italy, you're in California, oh my God, you know, and it's like they come together and it's like a whole best friend or whatever kind of takes place. It's fascinating.
Awesome. Well, you guys heard it here. This is how you can reach Galactic Ashley on Instagram or Facebook, or you can just simply go to her website to learn more about all of her offerings and services. Let's see, we have a new comment. Discord is a good place to do stuff, says Mr. Elfman, Pat Breezy. Also, MeWe has really good groups and chats, and it's set up probably the most like Facebook in my experience. Although I know Discord is like a chat and you can have folders and different areas.
Okay. Discord is like a thing. I was like, oh wait, we want to be an energetic Discord, and that's a good place to be. And I don't know.
No, it's an app
either. So that'll
it's
be
an app.
good.
Yeah, check out MeWe too.
Yeah.
MeWe's pretty cool. All right, awesome. Well, this has been amazing. Do you have anything else you want to share before I let you go? We are a little bit over time, but everyone hung out with us. So thank you guys for still hanging out even after the fact, after we were supposed to end.
No, I always just, I think the beings always we just like to end with, we are, like all of us collectively, we are self-mastered, we are divine, we are sovereign, and we are free. And then we end by saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we love you, we love you, we love you.
Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Galactic Ashley. This was a lot of fun. I learned a ton tonight, and I'm sure everybody else learned a lot too. Pat Breezy even burned some sage, and he says he's all relaxed now.
Awesome.
That's awesome. So thank you so much. I hope to have you on the show again soon. I want to keep in touch with you and hear what you're up to. And everyone, please go check out her courses and all of her offerings. And thank you again so much for being here. And also, one last thing, if you're one of my newest subscribers, thank you so much. I'm so honored that you guys subscribe to our channel and you pushed us over the 1,000 subscriber limit. So thank you so much. Much gratitude to all of you. Thanks for watching. Have a great night. Bye.